5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
All right. How's everybody? It is a beautiful day here in New York. It's killer. I've got a great guest. It's been an amazing couple of days. A lot of good stuff going on, and I'm just happy to have everybody here. I have a guest who's a drummer, and I am impressed with him, and I hope you will be too. In fact, I know you will be. The guy is smoking. I have the great Buddy Gibbons, and here I am sucking up to him, but he's a great player, and I'm not sucking up to him because he really can do it. The guy is an excellent player, and I'm looking forward, and I know you will be too. I'm just quickly going to go over the Friday news really quick. I mean, there's nothing but political bullshit happening out there. Everybody's yelling at everybody and each other. They're all aggravated and walking around mad. People who've been friends for decades are screeching at each other. Just quit all the jabbering and vote. God almighty. You have to make the rest of us suffer. I'm looking at it. It's like, okay, I'm trying to find some good news here, okay? Let's see. Sex, thrones, murder, coercion, bombshells from Army Hammer docuseries. Okay. Let's see. Jehovah's Witnesses are back. I know everybody's happy about that. I just love it on a Sunday morning when somebody comes up and... Hello? Yes, good morning. We are here. Have you heard the word of the Jehovah? Yeah, I do. But please go away. You're too early. And that's that. They're nice enough people. I can't bring myself to be cruel to somebody just because they're out proselytizing. But God, they got to find a better system. Maybe send me an email or a text or something. You don't have to show up, man. So we've got, let's see, there's really not any good news other than the Jehovah's Witnesses going door to door. We got high profile of Russians. I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. They keep falling to their deaths from windows. How the hell is that? Oh, Vlad's getting spooked, man. He's got people getting tossed out windows and whatever else they do. The president of Argentina, vice president, almost got whacked last night. Some goof came up with a gun, aimed it at her, clicked, and she was a lucky woman. Gun it misfired and did not go off. The picture is chilling. It's like 6 inches away from her head. I think probably today her chief of security was been sacked, and anybody even remotely breathed the same oxygen in a month. Jackson, Mississippi, it's a hellhole, and it's going to get worse. They have no water. It's terrible. Jackson's just like their water treatment plant's screwed. And all this good news, record turkey prices are going to make it. Man, aren't things just like all the existential dread I thought people had when COVID hit? It's like really getting weird, man. I mean, hey, Dan DePerret. Dan, I have a great drummer on today. And instead of me yakking for much longer, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to play a clip of him. And then I'm going to have him on, and we're going to talk a little bit. We'll go to a break, and then we'll carry on the conversation. Check this out. I think you guys are going to like it. Hang on. Get this here. And I'm going to just let you hear. Okay, this is the... this is a... Here, wait. Get here. He sent me several tracks. This one I like. It's only a minute long, and it just shows his skills real well. Wow. Well, man, how about that? Guys just got some chops, that's all I can say. So without any further ado, let's bring on Buddy Gibbons.
Hey, Neil,
There he
thanks for
is.
having me, man.
Oh, it's great to have you. I watch your show regularly, and I love watching your links, and I'm glad you came on. It really am.
Yeah.
Take some time out of your day. And Ben, how long have you been playing? When did you start? I'm going to just get right from the basics, and we'll move on to the more important stuff.
I'm a marching band geek from the word go.
That explains why your rudiments are so strong.
That's it. I'm a marching band guy, so I started out doing that in junior high school when I was 11 years old. You know,
All
and
right.
it's been that way ever since. And to this day, it's like, yeah, okay, that's my thing. If I could do the whole marching band for a living, my goodness, that's what I would do.
Somebody's just letting me know. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good.
Oh, by the way, the audio isn't heard if it's supposed to. What?
Yeah, I didn't hear it either. I thought maybe it was just because I'm on the other end of this.
That's very, very strange. I am kind of flabbergasted. Is everybody hearing or not hearing? There's only one.
I hear you, but I did not hear the video clip.
You did not. Ah. Hold on. Let me. That's good. I just bought. I bought a new computer, and I'm having a little. It's great. It's really fast. I got a new Mac, but I'm having a little. Like this. This is the first time I've used it off of QuickTime. I've always in the past used like VLC. So I'm going to, let me see, what can I do? I'm going to go ahead and go and try and share a different track and see if this one has audios.
Yeah, I see Dan commenting here. Yeah, I didn't hear that video either.
Okay, well, I'm going to see what we can do. I won't spend too much time on it because we can rather just talk if we have to.
Yeah,
that's fine with me, but I'd really thought some great tracks here. Let's see how this does. This is a trailer, and just tell me real quick if you hear it. Anything?
No.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
That is really an interesting thing to know. QuickTime Player, let's see. Edit it? No. It says remove audio, but we don't want to do that. It's already not doing it. All right. You know what we're going to do? We're just going to say,
We're gonna talk.
we don't need it. The visual aids, man.
You can always leave links, I guess.
Shit happens. I'm just going to roll with it.
Absolutely.
I noticed you have a 13-inch hi-hat. Is that... Tell me about it.
Well, I did then especially, but I've actually changed and moved up. That video clip is relatively old, and
Right.
I've changed drum companies and cymbal companies since then. So I'm actually playing 15-inch Peisty 602 modern essential hi-hats these days, which they're really, I think, the best hi-hats I've ever played.
Wow.
Back then I was playing 13 and a quarter inch. That quarter inch made all the difference. 13 and a quarter inch Zildjians.
Okay, that was a Zildjian. I wasn't sure. Who are you using now?
Peisty.
Peisty. Yeah. I have a bunch of cymbals. Like everybody, I've got Sabians and Zildjians and Peisties. But I have to say, there's a certain tone to the Peisty it's definitely different. And I don't know what they do in their formula, but I want to get one of those Neil Peart 22-inch rides.
Sure, you should. That's a Sabian.
Yeah. That's a Sabian. Okay.
That's a Sabian, but that's a great cymbal for sure.
Yeah. Definitely. I think when he was a pasty guy, he also had one of these hammered rides. That was the one I was thinking of. But
yeah, he probably did.
Like Neil had to really worry about getting cymbals, you know.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, what can I tell you? So you were in a marching band. I'm going to go back because at the end of that, I was stumbling around in tech world. But your mom was very supportive. Your parents, like, how did that go?
My mom was supportive up to a point. You know, at some point it's like, okay, when are we going to roll this back and you're actually going to focus on law school or something like that?
I felt that same feeling when I was a young guy.
Right. And fortunately for me, I was a pretty good marching snare guy, and I was able to parlay that. I'm actually from a little town not far from Jackson, Mississippi, by the way. So
where?
Not far from Jackson, Mississippi.
I'm not in Jackson, Mississippi.
No, I'm saying you were talking about Jackson.
Right. Oh, okay. So
earlier.
Wow.
Yeah. That the Pearl River flooded, and that's the river that runs right through my hometown. My hometown is currently very, very flooded.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. That's
it's
a
kinda
mess
crazy.
there. God, it's
It
just like
is. Well,
I think all the smart people move, man. I don't know what
well,
to tell you.
it's a hole for sure. Jackson is in particular. I don't love it there. That's why I live in LA. You know, got
Well,
out
I was
there.
gonna say L.A. Jackson.
I'll take.
I don't know how, it's pretty easy to make that call, you know.
Yeah.
It's the
No
way I look
kidding.
at it. It's either New York, L.A., or
Right,
Nashville.
right.
Nashville's too landlocked for me. I'm looking out at the ocean. It's a beautiful freaking day.
It's funny because I lived in Nashville for about 8 years, and I felt the same way. It was too
Right.
landlocked for me. I was just too far from the ocean. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, up there you got to go down to the Redneck Riviera, you know, and
Well, I like the Redneck Riviera.
that is the best part of Mississippi.
It's
I mean, it
beautiful,
really
yeah.
is. It's
It
beautiful,
is,
and
it
there's
is.
good seafood, and
Oh yeah, for sure.
to me, it's just a spot on the way to California to stop and eat some good seafood, and then keep moving.
There you go. That's fair.
No offense to my fans there, guys. Just
course,
move to
of
New
course.
York or LA. You'll like it. Trust me.
Well, it's funny when my wife and I decided we were going to move out here, and we told our family. I basically could have said we were moving to Babylon. You know, they didn't,
Gosh.
they didn't quite grasp it, but subsequently they've been out here and everybody loves it. So it's a.
Are
great
they
place.
were they traditional Southern parents?
I don't know quite how to answer that. My dad died when I was young.
I see.
So my mom, I always tell this story about my mom.
Right.
This was the early 1960s when her first husband was killed in a car accident.
Right.
And she had my two older sisters at that time. And so she had to decide what to do with herself. She was 24 years old, by the way, when this went down. And so she decided to go to college instead of finding another man. And she ended up getting not one, not two, but 3 degrees before she was 30.
Wow.
And
And
was a
what are the
professor.
degrees in? That's great.
Counseling, sociology, and home economics. She got those 3 things.
Excellent.
And so she became a professor for Mississippi State University back in the day.
All right.
Yeah, so that was her thing, you know. And
Wow.
subsequently, all of my 2 sisters and I all went into various parts of the education world, to say the least.
Great.
They're actual educators. I have a degree in education, but
Mhm.
obviously I'm doing this instead. So
Well, you know, you can always, when you get older, deal teaching, and you know, you got plenty of miles before that comes, I would think, and opportunity, and travel's always good. So
it is indeed. Yes,
ride the horse, man.
I'm doing my best. Yeah.
Spur that bastard, you know.
Absolutely.
So, who when you were coming up were some of your favorite players? Who influenced you? I can tell there's some Buddy Rich in there.
Well, there's some of that. I would say number one with a bullet back then was Stuart Copeland from the Police. I mean,
oh man, you know what? We have same taste. First time I heard
There you
Stu, I went, "What? All right, this guy's on the ball." I saw him a few times. And great drummer.
oh, fantastic!
A cool human too. He's got a big brain in his head, you know.
He does. For sure. That's for sure.
And I like that. He's a smart guy, and he's really funny whenever you see him talking about Sting. All of them, they're still all prickly with each other.
They are. They really
It's like, I've got to go out and do this fucking press thing.
Right.
With Sting. Sting this, Sting. You know, they're like,
old at this point. Stop.
I mean, really, I don't know though. I always think, well, am I going to quit? And I'm turning 61 this year, which is, you think it's bad at 40 people? Let me tell you, at 61, I'm like looking at feel like I'm whistling past the grave, just going out to get the mail sometimes. I mean, Jesus Christ.
There you go.
But I just figure until I can do it and have fun and not suck, that's the hardest thing as you get older. I mean, but for old people like myself, if you just sit around and lay around the couch, fight with your wife or whatever, you're going to end up chasing her off. You'll be a lonely old bastard, and you won't have any fun. Who wants to sit around alone? I mean, God.
Yeah.
I want to go out play gigs. You know, if I met my demise playing at a gig, you know, it's fine. We all got to die sometimes. I'd rather die that way than getting hit by a car or something, you know?
Yeah, right.
Can I tell you? At least I'd go out with a happy memory. I mean,
That's true.
You know. So, let's see.
very, very true.
So you liked Stewart. Who did you like before you liked Stewart?
You know what? That was my first real taste of drum set at all, because I was that marching guy who was so into that world that I didn't even have a clue about other players. And I grew up in the 80s, so I started getting this whole concept of drum set later in my playing life. I didn't even start playing drum set till I was 20. So
wow.
So
Man.
that's a late start on drum set, you know.
Well, you've certainly got you practiced. I know what it is. I said it before. It's all about the rudiments you learned in snare drumming. I mean, I've said to plenty of people who are friends of mine trying to learn. I'm like, look here, take this George Lawrence Stone book,
right?
And just start going through it, and
stick control, baby, all day long.
And then this is a great guide too, Understanding Drum Techniques by David Uglet.
I've never seen that book. That's amazing. I feel like I know every book. I've never seen that.
This is a great book, especially about if you have bad technique that's causing you physical pain, things like that. That we all, I tell everybody wants to be a drummer till it's 4 hours into the show and you're tired and you're cramped or whatever. But he has some good exercises. He establishes. He goes right from the basics up to advanced. Cool. Yeah, I'll see. I'll try and get you a copy of it.
All right, I appreciate it.
And I'll send it to you. My friend, he's out. He has a drumstick company.
Okay.
And I'm looking around. I don't have a stick. Ooh, maybe I do behind me. This is one of ours. Yes, here we are. I'm an endorsee of the True Axis drumstick.
Okay. All right.
They have a weight in them.
All right.
So the balance point is farther down.
Right.
So you get more response. Like you can. I'm getting all fast. You can play light. The dynamics. You can, or you can turn around and use it like a club when you need to.
Sure.
But yeah, True Axis drumsticks, people. I haven't talked about them in a while, but they are out there and they are killer. That's cool. David, Understanding Snare Drum Techniques. I'm going to look on Amazon and see if it's up there.
Yeah,
great book.
Send me a link.
Yeah, I will. Definitely. Well, no worries. I mean, we're here to have fun and yes, Toby Simmons, the girl from Wilshire Boulevard. Oh my God, a big hug for you, Toby.
We love Toby. Toby's so great.
Toby's the bomb, man. I mean,
she's really always on our show too. She's always she never fails to.
She is the hottest shit going when it comes to helping out bands and radio stations like mine. And absolutely. I've gotten so many great guests because she knows everybody.
She does know everybody.
And I kind of go, hey, can you just squeak somebody in? And she's a cool chick.
She is.
I was going to go to NAMM last year, and I had a guy whose family had a family emergency. We were all going to go out there together, and I didn't, but I'm really looking forward to NAMM. I haven't been in 3 years between COVID and all the fuckery that went on.
It's going to be in April next year, by the way, so don't.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking of January, and I was making plans. But that's okay. I'll go in April. Nice weather, It'll be a little warm, but it'll be perfect, really.
Perfect, yeah. It will.
Right now in New York, it's like a perfect New York day at the end of summer. It's just about 75. There's no humidity here on the shore, and it's great for a Labor Day weekend.
Sure.
It's
really, like 110 here this week. It's been.
I know. I've been watching it every day and talking to my friends, and I'm like, "Have you melted into the pavement yet?"
Yeah, that's about right. Man,
it's funny. I've noticed how LA's changed so much. The only reason I brought it up was Lynn Carey is a friend of Toby's and mine and everybody else. And she was telling me that while she was in the hospital, some crackhead just ran in, started manhandling her, took her drugs, and thrashed her,
Really?
And I said, holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, she's had some, health issues going on. Anybody knows her knows what's going on. And she's really a super nice lady. And all I could say is, enjoy your youth, man, because as we get older, it sucks. Don't let anybody tell you any different. My dad, my girlfriend's father lived to be 99 years old.
Oh, wow.
And he used to say, if you'd say you're tired, he'd go, you don't know what tired is yet. You whippersnapper. And he was tough. He worked till he was 99, wrote a book at 97.
No kidding.
Family history. He's a cool
guy.
He
was mentally pretty sharp then.
Oh, he was he lives in a town where they were doing all kinds of shit. He's a civil engineer. And they'd spend tons of money on these projects, and then he goes down and he files a lawsuit, sends a design in that costs $100,000 or $1 million less, and then he'd hammer the guy was like the gadfly, but he kept the roads really in good shape, and he was fun to be around. He had a lot of jokes. So, how about your folks? Are they alive?
Yeah, my mom is alive and well in 87, and she's actually in pretty good shape at 87.
Excellent.
You know, she gets around pretty well, and she's mentally very very much together. I always make fun of her for reading trashy romance novels.
All right.
She likes to read those. She will deny that they're trashy romance novels.
Of course. Everybody has to have their vice, right?
Yes, absolutely.
As long as she's not out running around Friday nights drinking in the clubs, who knows? You know,
that is definitely not her.
No, I didn't think. I didn't really get that. You know, something about being a college professor, even in the South, it's a little elevated level of
for sure.
Something's going on. I mean, you know, I had to go back to school. So kids, listen to your parents. If you want to be a lawyer or whatever, do it young. I had to go back when I was 30 and had a couple of kids. And
there you go. Yeah.
I did it, but I realized it's like, I got to go do this. So I went to Full Sail and did the whole ride.
Sure.
A lot of people rag on it.
Full Sail?
Well, I've heard people like, they're like, oh, you're a Full Sail guy. And another thing that's happened to me early in the career is I walked into a new studio as an intern, and I expected to get, abused a little bit.
Of course.
It's just part of the territory, Well, I got to this place, and it was just like one of those things where the guy looks at me, one of the engineers, and he goes, oh, my friend JR introduced me to him, and he goes, oh, nice to meet you. Another goddamn Full Sail guy who's going to get fucking 20 or 30 bucks while I'm getting fucking 10, slaving in the tape vault. And I was just like, hey, it's nice to meet you. I grabbed him, I didn't know what to say to him. He was the grouchiest bastard I've ever worked
Sometimes
for.
you just got to do that, you just have to disarm people. And it's something that when you learn to disarm people, man, you can get the world.
Oh, you can get the world. Once I got to know him, he was so talented. He just had his people skills were rough. I mean, he was a grouchy, garrulous guy. So whenever he'd get grouchy with me, once I got to know him, I'd be like, oh, take your pen and fix the goddamn copy. Will you quit whining? You're worse than a woman, You had to have that, throw it back in his face. We once did a session where him and a woman were in the booth, and they were doing dialogue on different takes. Or on some of the reads, there was steps in an advertising. So man, boy, girl. And he started complaining about the copy, which admittedly it was awful. It was some crap like, yes, with dazzling diamonds and glittering gold, you'll find everything you need to dumbass's jewelers.
Right.
And it was like, the copy was lame, but I just looked at him. I'm like, I've got a stack of scripts here that's about 1.5 feet tall, dude. So if you're really having a conniption, don't yell at me about the copy. Go out and yell at Julie. Or how about this? You just take a pen, just change it, man. I know it sucks, but I'm not even changing mine because I know you know enough to not read that shit. And the poor woman in the booth, like he was yelling at me, he got all garrulous, and I disarmed him. He got calm after a minute, and he fixed his copy, and then after that, I was like, let's go to lunch, get him out of the building for a while. At any rate, so. Tell me about what you're doing. You've got lots of stuff going on. Your score was excellent.
Thank you. It's been an interesting career. I actually began my post-college life as a drum instructor at the University of Alabama.
Okay.
And when I moved from there to Nashville by way of a couple of other stops, and when I got to Nashville, it took me a while to find my footing there. It really did. I don't love country music. In fact, it's one of my least favorite forms of music. And I know, hey, Gina, I see you. I know Gina's going to be upset with me saying that. But the fact is that for me, I never loved country music growing up. I don't love it now. So I found my way into it by way of other gigs. And I ended up getting a gig with a jazz fusion guitarist named Stan Lasseter. Okay. And Stan he's one of those guys that he's played on 5 bajillion records, and his music is so incredible. Like, we would have a rehearsal where we would work on 2 bars of music because they were in 21/16, and we all had to figure out how to count to 21. Wow. That kind of thing. So I got that gig, and it kind of rolled into a couple of tours with some people, and then I ended up working with Kenny Rogers Jr. for a while in his band Shiloh, and we toured quite a bit, and I was actually the musical director in that gig. This is the way the story goes. I was on the way back. We just played one of our largest shows ever in downtown Detroit. We're flying back, and I got fired. He fired the whole band. It was my birthday. So
man, happy birthday.
Yeah, and I was the musical director, like I said, so I had to tell everybody, hey, we're fired. And, we got back to Nashville, and I told my wife, and she goes, well, you've been flying out to LA working. Why don't we just move? And bam, we're here.
Right.
About 6 weeks later, we were here in LA, and that's been 18 years ago now.
I always suggest people in little towns out there, if you really want to be in the biz, go somewhere where the biz is. Just
It's
not that
New
you
York,
can't grow a
Nashville,
great. There's plenty of great bands that come up and they make it,
Yeah.
but in the industry now too, they want to see a tight, well packaged. They got to be ready to go. They've seen
right.
thousands of tunes. They don't give a crap. It's just another piece of the numbers.
That's right.
They listen for 10 seconds if you're lucky sometimes. And
If you're lucky, that's right.
I'm guilty of doing it too.
Yeah, sure.
I look for talent out there in the world to bring on the show. See somebody who's really great, even if they're not famous. I want to get them on. I want to hear what they're about. And I've learned so much from listening to other people, what they've been through.
Sure.
I think when we were younger. I was younger. In the 60s and 70s, there was a great generation of horn players, people from the World War II generation, teaching music in schools, teaching music in little stores. Like I started a little town music school playing a pad. I bugged them enough that I told them I'd polish everything, vacuum. All I wanted was a lesson a week. They only cost like $1.50.
Right.
I think the guy got a pretty good deal. I was hustling, man. I spent an hour
saying.
shining up guitars and shit. But
Yeah.
I had several jobs growing up in that industry, and I think, I don't know, today it's good to see a band like Snarky Puppy, not Skinny Puppy.
Yeah.
I caught them, and it was like glass, their horn section. They were just so tight, and they're all young guys. And people say, well, jazz is dead, and then others say, well, it just smells funny. But I know there's tons because I look all over the internet, and I see lots of young people doing amazing things.
Absolutely.
Instead of being, I'm not one of those old guys who thinks that the world's gonna suck if I'm not here. We're always like, when I was young, shut up, man. We get old, and you face that fact as you get old. I've never met like a lot of kids who are real assholes. I've got great daughters. Cheerleaders. We were all through school doing band and things like that. And when I hear people grouse about kids, sometimes I'm like, I don't know where the kids they're talking about are. All my friends' kids are going to college. They're succeeding in jobs and trade and industry. And, there's a lot of great young people out there. And it's just amazing me that because a lot of people now are just into making rap, and that's fine, if that's what you like. That's one of my least favorite forms of music. But I like good stuff. I love Snoop Dogg. I like Dr. Dre.
Right.
I like anything that is done well. And I think that the rhythms, the vocals that they sing, that's pretty intense. I've played along with it just for practice and followed their vocal riffs, and their timing can be.
You bring that up. It's really interesting to me because I'm currently working with Stephen Kramer Glickman, who was an actor in Big Time Rush, the show on Nickelodeon, and we've been recording a cover song of Lil Nas X, the rapper. We've been working on one of his songs. And when he first sent it to me, I'm like, I don't know about this. And the more I listened to it, I'm like, huh. And I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to lyrically what was happening. I was listening to it from an arranger's ear. That's my ear. So I'm listening to it with that ear, and I'm like, this is really interesting. So by the time we got through with it, I actually finished it yesterday. By the time I got through with it yesterday and sent it to him, it really became something that it's maybe one of the deepest earworms I've ever had. I can't get rid of it, So
when's it coming out?
Probably a week and a half from now.
Oh, great!
Yeah, it's coming.
I want to listen. I want to listen to it.
I'll certainly
send me a note or something.
Absolutely.
That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we're at the halfway point. I'm going to just run a quick, brief ad, and then we'll be right back.
All right.
Oh, I was just reading your mail there, buddy.
Yeah, I know, right?
I was like checking it out. Oh, I'm glad you're hearing it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
what have you got going forward? What cool stuff is coming up?
Well, I just spent. COVID was a crazy moment for me. I do so much television work, and in fact, I've got about 20 songs. I'm doing math. Roughly 20 songs in the queue for me to do for ESPN and Bally Sports Network. Those are due by the end of this month.
Do you find that you have to work like super fast for those guys because it's just like crunch time?
Yeah, and for me, because I'm pretty well a pure drummer. I sing pretty well, so that helps me. But from other instruments, like guitar is completely baffling to me. I play piano badly, but I can play piano a little bit. So I use piano to compose. And what I have to do, I don't do anything digitally. I play it all. So when you hear my stuff, I've hired horn players, I've hired guitar players, etc. I want to use real musicians, and it makes
I love it.
The music stands out because of it. I mean, the stuff that
it does, heard, especially because everything's all when it's all sequenced and plugins. I agree with you. Like nothing sounds like a real horn section.
Nothing at all. And the guys that I use are some of the best guys in LA and the best guys in Nashville. I even get to use a couple of guys that play with Tower Power. So it's
I've had Greg on, man. He's just such a monster. God almighty.
Yeah. Well, Herman Matthews is a very, very close friend of mine too.
Okay. He's the drummer, right?
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah, I see him playing everywhere, and he's just such a great player. God, he's
one of my COVID bros, man. There was a group of 6 of us that became really, really tight doing this kind of Zoom interview thing during COVID. Right. And Herman's the most successful and legendary name of all of us. We're all like, why are you hanging with us? What are you doing?
He's just a good guy, I guess.
He's a great dude, absolutely.
So
I've got those things coming up, and I'm actually taking time once I turn these 2 albums worth of material. I guess it's 2 albums worth of material. Once I turn those in at the end of this month, I'm actually going to take the rest of the year off.
Sure, it's getting close to Christmas.
I'm going to write my own record. I've been wanting to write my own thing for a decade.
Sure.
So I'm actually going to do it. And that's what I'm spending the rest of the year doing. Obviously, I'll still work with things when people call me.
Of course.
But I'm not going to actively.
You're not going to take the new Mission Impossible movie and compose the whole score by next week.
No,
I need it like in 2 weeks.
I would sure try.
Come on, go. Shit, man, it's like, oh my God, everybody I know who does the film thing is always telling me I can't talk right now. Look, man, I'm fucking knee deep. I'll call you in a week. And
that's about right.
I understand. I mean, the pressure is. We all know you're like one breath away. You never know when you get your next gig or when you lose one. When you kill it, you look like a hero. But if fucking something goes wrong just once, you could have 20 great products. If one's fucked up, it's just like, dong!
Oh, man, I've had that happen to me more than once, for sure.
Me too.
Fox Sports called me several years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, to do some stuff. And they needed 27 pieces of music and something stupid like 6 weeks. It was something ridiculous.
Yeah.
So obviously I took the gig, and the guy I'd worked with the guy before. He said, "So just do your thing, do what you do, and we'll love it." I did what I did, and I handed it in. He goes, "Yeah, this is not what we need." So they rejected all 27 songs.
Oh, ouch, man! That's an ego nap.
I got paid on the front side, but not on the back side.
Of course, that's
like, oh
too
my
bad.
Gosh, man, that was not a good moment.
Oh man, that's like a bad feeling for sure. I can imagine.
Yeah,
it's a little bit bigger. Hey, here's Toby. I think she's got like 4 shows she's doing today at this time.
That's probably right. Yeah.
And I don't know. Usually she's got somebody on Friday. Once we get off, I like to check out who she's got. She's always got somebody cool. And,
she does.
Toby, I can't thank you enough if you already left the building. The girl from Wilshire Boulevard. I've had her on just to talk, and
I believe that.
The problem is getting her up in the morning show. But she's amazing. She gets up and does the morning show.
Wow!
I see her like every time, and I got to give her credit. And we have a good core of fans, and then we have the people who watch. Like they don't watch it at 4 in the afternoon or 1, depending on where you are, but they watch. And I have lots of cool friends in the biz who watch and pop in and make snide comments.
Sure.
I know Leland Sklar's back from his tour, and
nice.
he's recovering right now.
Of course.
But I'm going to hit him up because I want to have him back on just to talk about the tour and how great it was,
sure.
and to talk about the new movie. I think they've got a new movie about the immediate family.
The immediate family. That's right. Yeah.
I mean, what a great! I'm a fan, and you know, those guys are great. Just and all really good people too. I joke around. I'm like, other than Waddy, he won't call me back. Kidding, yeah. No, he hasn't called me back, but that's okay. You know, if you're in this industry, look, those guys work their ass off. Yeah. So I don't worry about it. You know, I'll see him at NAMM and corner him. Come on, man. You know.
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's funny, isn't it? Because musicians get tagged as being people who are not necessarily the most straight line driven, we'll say, or most focused or hardest workers, and boy, is that the wrong way to look at musicians. Musicians are,
you got to be on fire, man. Yes. If you're not on fire, you're not kicking ass, and you got you really got to have that enthusiasm. If you don't,
you do. Yeah, I got to tell you, man, the way that I was able to be successful, I mean, this is a business that's built to make you quit.
Yes, and absolutely.
The only way that I've ever been able to do it is that I can focus very single-mindedly for long periods of time. Like I can just, you know, for long periods of time. And that's what allowed me to be any good at this at all. Is our ability to focus. Otherwise, because I always say
the fact that you started focusing at 20, I'm you know, hats off to you. You're a very good player, and you know, I love having great players on, because even just talking and thinking about how things are going, I like to hear what's going out in LA. You know, there's a lot of my friends out there, and that whole this whole COVID, and now we're in this nightmarish political fucking whirlwind. That, you know,
disaster.
So what I do is I just avoid it. I got friends who get all crazy, and I'm like, just do that with someone else. You know, I'm here. I want to have a good time. I don't want to spoil dinner fucking hearing you guys argue with each other.
Right.
You know. Right. I mean, I respect people's opinion to be wrong. It doesn't matter what side they're on. Fucking everybody's got their own vote. So all this peer pressure and people beating and screaming, I don't go for it. It turns me off. Yeah, I think our country should be better than that. And all I can say politically is, out of whatever, I think there's 600 million Americans. The fucking two choices we're going to get thrown at us. Out of all these people, we can't find somebody better than these two fuckers?
Well,
I just say that. I'm sorry. I'm not one who really likes politicians, either side. I've never voted for one who, by the time they were done, I really was like pleased with my vote. Both sides too.
Yeah, sure.
I'm like, yeah, you talk a lot of smack, but I like action, and you know. But that's like that's all I want to talk about politics, and we're here to talk about drums. Yeah. What kind of microphones and stuff do you use for vocals? I mean, you probably got a nice array. I'm just curious.
I don't know. Can you see? Yeah, you can see that. So right here, this is my DW. This is my Maple kit here.
Beautiful.
And I'm using Sennheiser 421s on all the toms. Neumann's up top for overheads. I've got Sennheiser on the hi-hat. I'm a Sennheiser endorser, in case you can't tell.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, no kidding. I've got a couple
do you use a Sennheiser on your snare, or do you use a 57? I'm just curious.
I actually don't love 57s on snares. So I have a couple of oddball mics. I have a friend of mine gave me some microphones that Yamaha made in the late 1980s.
Okay.
Nobody's really ever seen them. They're odd mic. And I took a look at them. I'm like, well, okay, fine. They're a gift. Let me see what they're about. And I started looking them up online and realized that Sting, since we mentioned him, insists on those mics for his drums whenever he's recording albums.
Wow, that's great.
Prince
too.
So I'm like, okay, there must be something cooking here.
Absolutely.
And I put one on top and bottom of the snare, and that Yamaha, those drums just sound incredible.
Is it a condenser or is it a dynamic?
It's not. It's a dynamic. If I could unhook, I'd go grab one, but I can't unhook.
That's cool.
I'm too locked in here. But
is that a floor tom or a gong drum to your left?
Right here. This is a floor. Yeah, that right there. That's a floor tom. It's so currently set up. I have 10, 13, 15, 16. The 15 is this one. Mm-hmm. So it's 10, 13, 15. 16 way over there. This is
right.
Yeah.
Cool.
And
it's a beautiful kit. I had a very similar. I had the White Pearl kit.
Oh yeah, that's a nice
DW.
kit.
It was a great kit. I love the thing.
I don't know if you can tell. I've got about
I see your rack and everything. Yeah.
About 30 odd snare drums over there.
It's funny because like I can't show you either, but like right to my left
Oh yeah, sure.
I've got like there's snare drums here, and I got to move them whenever I record because,
oh right.
or put a blanket over them, whatever, But
Right.
pop
Well,
the snares.
This shelf is actually set up so that it damps all the snares, so nothing rattles, which is
Nice.
yeah. I
What
did it right.
what do you have, like rubber?
It's a kind of a foam sort of deal, yeah, and it's foam with black cloth over the top, so it's just
Very
nice and
cool.
cushy. Yeah.
That's great. I have to.
Yeah.
I got to do something. And I close the lights off in this place. I wake up and drums have made babies. There's just new
It
snare drums
happens.
appear. My girlfriend says, "Did you get a new drum?" And I'm like, "What drum?" No, I'm kidding. I just go, "Yeah, I got a new drum."
Yeah.
But occasionally, I might slip one in just under the radar. And if I break it out, she's like, "I've never seen that one." Oh yeah, you've seen it.
I managed to sell one last week. I was like, you know what? I've just got to make some room. So I picked the one drum that I never ever play and put it up for sale, and it sold in about 20 minutes.
What
okay.
was it?
It was a Tama Star Classic G Maple, this really thick shell.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful drum.
They're beautiful, yeah. Great snare
and
drum.
And I'm sure that the guy that bought it's going to really like it. But I'm a metal snare guy,
Mm-hmm.
so wood drums just don't really have that thing for me. And
Right.
and I immediately went out and bought, or didn't buy, but got the one back there. It's a 4x14 piccolo bronze.
I
drum.
noticed you had a piccolo in one of the pictures. That's great.
Yeah.
Bronze, man. I had
hadn't
one of
had a
those
bronze
Tama
drum.
or pearl ones that was
The
brass.
free floaters.
The floater. And
Yeah,
that was
those are cool.
that was thing popped like it cracked like a
Yep.
whip.
Yeah.
But, and I have a big one, same thing, free floater, but I don't
Mhm.
use a big snare drum that much anymore. It's not like I'm
Yeah.
on some huge stage and
Yeah.
get into my rock god drummer mode,
Well, I play traditional grip, and so I learned I can hit harder traditional grip than I can match grip, which surprises people. But it's that whole marching thing. You learn how to do that,
Right.
and you can just knock the crap out of a drum.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, your technique and using your arm as a fulcrum and all those
Yeah.
technological biomechanics
Yep.
it's an evolving art. They've been doing studies with drummers for a lot of cool
Mhm.
things, like our big ass brain people.
Yeah, it's true.
Always follow the drummer, man. If you don't know where you're at, turn around and look at me, or I'll throw a
Yep.
stick at your ass.
I got you. Man. I got you.
I mean, what can I
Absolutely.
tell you? It's
Yeah.
like, smell the coffee over here. Turn around. It's funny. I've met so many good people on the show. I started
Absolutely.
because of COVID, and
Yeah, me too.
my
actually.
girlfriend on a Sunday night just looked at me, and I'd been here, and I was miserable. There was not any gigs going around. I had something to finish at a studio. I had booked the time, and it was the first time I ever heard. We were recording on Wednesday and Thursday, and I booked just to have like 2-hour session on Friday or Saturday rather, and I just needed to do like one guitar solo. And I called my guitarist up and I said, "Hey, I got the studio booked, man. You got to meet me down here." He's like, "I'm sorry, I'm social distancing." I went, "What?" I said, "Look, I'm not creeping with coronavirus. Let's just go in there. I'll stay 10 feet away from you. You don't have to come in the control room because I was going to record him."
Right.
Nope. and that was it. It stopped. And maybe a few months later, I was like, "God, I'm going crazy." Calling, you talk on your friends. I didn't know how to stream video at that point. Just
Right, of course.
never came up. But
course.
I'm thankful for a lot of my friends who were like,
Yeah.
you're back in the Stone Age. We can do cool things."
Well, I know you've seen my show, and I know you pop up from time to time. I always appreciate you chiming in when you're around for that.
I think your show is great, and
Thanks.
you work hard, man, and I respect that. I really
Thank
do.
you, yeah.
And you're going places, and you're a great guest too.
I appreciate that. Really, I do. It's been an interesting career, and if I may,
Yes.
I always I want to say this out loud every time I get a chance to talk with people.
Sure.
You asked earlier about my parents being supportive and whatnot. I love my mother, more than just about anybody. I'm 100% mama's boy.
Right. Me too.
My mom was not particularly understanding of the musical life. That was from my
Right.
father, who I mentioned died early in my life.
Right.
He was that guy. And so there was a lot of misunderstanding about it. And as I pushed forward, I'm older than you think I am, by the way. I'm 52.
Wow, you look great, man.
Thanks. And I just had my
I'm
first,
61, and so I'm only 10 years older. I'm not that old now.
well, I just had my
feel
first
good.
grandchild, for that matter. So I have
All
I have a
right.
grandson. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's really cool. In fact, I was talking with my son earlier today, and got to see the baby. They live in North Carolina.
All right.
But this is what I always say. It was difficult for my mom and my stepfather to accept the fact that I had different ideas about ways to live my life. And I
Sure.
read a Modern Drummer article with Jonathan Mover, whom I've subsequently gotten to know a little bit through the years. They interviewed him, and he's the one that said, this is a business designed to make people fail.
It's a great.
What it does is weed out the weaklings. You've got
Yeah.
to be strong, and you've got to be driven, and you kind of have to be almost single-minded about it
Yes.
if you want to succeed. But the next part of it for me is being a musician it's as legitimate a career choice as being a doctor or a lawyer or a whatever.
Absolutely.
But you don't graduate from high school today and tomorrow say, okay, I'm opening up my law practice. It doesn't work that way.
No,
you
go work somewhere, maybe at
school
the public defender's office,
right,
or
all of that. And don't forget, you've got school so you got 10 years of school before that happens too. So
Right.
when people, it's like when you say you're going to be a musician, if you're not successful 6 months later, people tend to kind of look at you a little sideways. Well,
Right.
that's the only thing in the world that I can personally think of,
right.
maybe acting, where if you're not immediately successful, people think you're a failure, and that's just not the reality of it. If you're willing to put in the work and the time, then you're going to have success.
Look at a guy like Brad Pitt.
Right.
He comes from Bumpkinville, got out in L.A. and followed his dream, and he happens to have great talent, and it can be done. In spite of all, I always encourage people, go. You don't know until you've gone. If you're miserable where you're at and it's a local scene and it's not really happening. I came from Tampa up here, and I did it because at the time I'd gone through a divorce and I got a job in New York. So I said, I'm just going to go.
Yeah.
If you want to have a dream and you're going to follow it, go to a music city, or even Miami. Miami has a great scene.
Yeah. I mean, it's Nashville, New York, L.A., Miami a little, Atlanta a little.
Yeah, it's regional. You have the Latin music. A friend of mine, my roommate from Full Sail, Jose Bruno, is like, he's gotten a bunch of Latin Grammys. He's a monster. He's a killer mastering engineer. I remember, though, when the two of us were in this ratty little apartment, and we're like eating his mom's scented rice cooker, which I was like, your mom's great. I said, that's so good, rice. I'd never seen one,
Right.
And it was so cool. They're very Cuban, so we were drinking. All we do is stay up at night drinking shots of Cuban coffee.
Yeah, that stuff is serious.
And a lot of times I'd go play gigs in Tampa and have like a lab in the middle of the night. Because at Full Sail, it's 24 hours, just like any other studio. And let me tell you, they graded for, you better not be late, man. You got to be there. It's just like in the real world. They didn't. You'd get docked, man. It's like, got to go and do it. But there was about 5 of us in the class of about 50, and we've all always worked. I knew in that, like, it was our team that worked on our video projects, and we didn't get the grand prize, but we got like number 2. And the one thing that our teacher said, he goes, if you want to see an example of a team that knows how to work together and like had a really good work dynamic, they pointed to us. And what it was is we all just figured out what our job was, and everybody did it. There was a couple of guys in the class who weren't really that good, so they were learning, though. They were there. They did lights. They were grips. They did, and we got it done. And the reason we didn't get picked as the best, I think, is because I picked a Christian guy. He was a big gospel singer. He had an amazing voice. And everybody else wanted all the heavy metal bands. Sounded like, at that point, everybody sounded like Queensryche in the metal area. Right. So the culture was different back then, too, because everybody there was a musician. Almost everybody was smoking hot at something. We were driven to go there, have a dream. I had some of the best teachers, and you just, when you go in and you learn it, just to be somebody's second engineer, and you just sit there and you do whatever you got to do. Might have you making copies one minute. He might have you out there taking down the drum set, getting ready to do a piano, but you can't help but absorb it. You're right about, even after that process, and I've been gigging since I was 8 years old. I mean, so that all combined. When I got out of school, I really thought I was a hot shit and I knew it all. And I quickly learned that No, you
Right.
got to learn your place in the hierarchy and be content for a while. If I think you'd agree. You want somebody who's cooperative, they're friendly, they're punctual, they don't get pissed off when stuff is stressful. They know how to keep their cool.
Right.
I'm pretty good. I've studied psychology to just to have a really good atmosphere when I record with people.
Sure.
Whether I'm playing,
it makes all the difference.
It really does. And as you get older, you find the people you like to work with, and you hire them again and again.
It's funny you mention that, because my studio, this is my workspace. Above my head is all this Star Wars stuff. I've got all kind of Star Wars geekery around me, and Bonnie Gordon is an actress on current Star Trek Prodigy.
Okay.
She came in here to sing background vocals on something else that I was doing, and she loved my space so much and the nerdiness of it that we ended up recording her entire album here. We did the whole thing because she loved the space and the vibe and the energy, and that's what you're talking about. And
you too, you're an energetic guy, and you're wired for success,
Well, thank you.
I'm glad I'm somewhat wired for success. I feel great. I feel a great life. I have a lot of fun, and
sure.
I'm gonna just keep playing, interviewing musicians, talking smack, and then going to see them. And I want to go around and do a whole. My dream would be to just take a nice 6-month vacation.
Sure.
Go visit all the friends I have in the industry who have small studios. Like I want to go up to guy Stephen J. He's got the bass player for Weird Al.
Oh, okay.
He invited me out. He's got a place up in the mountains, big farm. Like a really nice place to record up in the mountains. You just walk out and there's sheep or whatever they have out there. I know there's panthers in California. So.
Yes, that's for sure.
And that's why they have a shortage of sheep. That and Harvey Weinstein. I don't know, man. Yes, I need 6 sheep delivered to the Weinstein residence. They're having a party tonight, I used to see him in New York at the Roxy Hotel. Brian Charette plays there. And I'm just a smart ass, I'm always getting in trouble for cracking jokes. I've been beaten by nuns for every college, playing my drums on the table to writing. I'm a lefty, but I'm a right-handed because the demon hand had to be exercised. It's gotten away from me again. Shit, I need to go back and get it exercised. But I just lost my train of thought. But it's Friday. I've got so much going on this weekend that's cool, and
that's good.
I got the birthday next weekend. I'm playing in Asbury Park with Clarence Clemens' son.
No kidding, that's cool.
Yeah, he's a cool kid, and
that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm playing percussion. I'm not bringing a kit, but he's got a really good drummer, and so I'm looking forward to it. I don't care what it is. Hand me a pot, I'll play that sucker. In fact, I used to have a pot on a cymbal stand.
Yeah, me too.
It sounded great. It was like
I'm a saw blade guy. I have a saw blade, a circular saw blade. Typically, it's not up right now.
Oh, cool!
And that thing, the sound is just incredible.
It is. It's really cool. I like kind of making weird sounds. That's the thing. You just if you have an inquisitive mind, there's nothing better than music because you can just try shit. And if you get to the point where you have your own little space, equipment's gotten so good.
Oh yeah.
I mean. If you can't make a decent record at home now, you're not trying, or maybe
you can't see what's right here in front of me. I've got a small scale SSL console here.
Oh, nice!
And so it's sitting right here, along with all of my Pro Tools setup and whatnot. And I'm actually about to switch over from Pro Tools to Luna. I think I've been playing around with Luna a bit.
And I'm not familiar with it. I haven't heard of it.
It's Universal Audio's competitor to Pro Tools. And Pro Tools, as you probably know, is a disaster most of the time.
Right.
So it's always a challenge to get it running the way you want it, when you want it, how you want it. And even now, even as I'm talking to you right now, you and I are coming through the console, and we're not supposed to be. So I don't know what's going on. The mystery patch bay. What the hell? Okay, well, if it's working, we don't want to screw with it. You can hear me, and I can hear you. That's all that matters at this point.
Have you ever had one of those sessions where you're like, everybody's stopped, they've jumped in, it's like your second take, and it's just smoking, and you're listening, and you solo up, and you realize that there's like 2 mics turned off on the kit or something, that just like somebody, myself or. If you have an assistant engineer, and then you're getting this great track, and you go, "Oh, motherfucker!"
If you, I don't know if you can tell, there's a patch bay way back here.
Okay.
Right.
I see it. Right.
So that I tend to end up plugging the first channel of it goes to one of my favorite preamps, so I
Sure.
tend to use it for vocals a lot.
Uh-huh.
And in fact, I've got a vocal mic sitting here that's plugged into it right now, and I will forget that mic is plugged in when I go track drums. And the
Oh
next thing
man,
you
so
know,
you got this big obnoxious
ugly,
mess
you know.
going on.
That's what happens to me more often.
That has happened. Yeah, that's funny.
Because I really like that preamp. It's a Universal Audio 4710 tube amp.
They make some really cool stuff. They really do.
Yeah,
you know?
I've got some pretty good gear in here, and it's how I get all the good sounds, you know. But it's like
That's why you're getting all the good gigs, man.
Well,
Sonic
at least
integrity, along with professional integrity, and
yeah, the sonic integrity is a real thing, man. And
you have to every little link. You just be meticulous, is what I say. You know.
yeah, well, it's funny because for years and years I would not call myself a music producer because I feel like anybody that has a laptop calls themselves a producer these days.
Right.
And one day my wife stopped me in the living room because I was saying I'm not a music producer. And she said, "Tell me something. How many song placements have you had on TV?" And I was like, "About 150,000 at this point."
Right.
And she goes, and who produced those? And I said, "Well, I did." She said, I think you can call yourself a music producer."
Absolutely, man. You're a very humble guy, and I like that too. You're really great to have on. Listen, it's been great having you. I want to have you back, and when I'm out in LA, I want to come and shoot at your studio. I'm going to do a whole series. I'm going to try and hit all my friends who have independent recording studios, little home-based things. And I'm just going to do a series that, like, I put on Wednesday nights for people who want to. And what nights are you on? Remind us.
So we are coming up to season 3. We've been doing it in season blocks,
right?
Because it's, as you know, it's a fully produced show.
Yes.
So it takes a lot to get the shows together.
It looks great too, man.
Thank you.
You really have great production. For sure.
Thank you. My friend Eli, he's the director, I'm the producer. He's when I talk about Eli, I always say this about him. You know, you've seen Iron Man, right?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You've seen Iron Man, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, he puts his arms out and the suit comes flying up and
oh, yeah, I love that scene.
Eli's the guy that created all of that. He's a Marvel Cinematic Universe special effects guru.
Dude.
That's what he is. So when Eli's in the room with me here, we're always trying different shots and whatnot. Well,
right.
He's coming in Sunday and we're going to start looking at different setups and whatnot so that we can start season 3 by the end of October. That's our goal.
Great.
Is to start showing season 3. We're starting to interview guests a couple weeks from now.
Great.
So we do another 13 episode season run at starting in late October, and the show's called Groove Diner After Dark. This is the Groove Diner that I'm sitting in.
Yes.
And so it's the after dark part is because it's after hours.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, it's great. We jokingly call my place the Sausage Factory.
Of course.
It's kind of it's an illusion of Frank Zappa's, approach to recording, you know?
Yeah.
God, you know, it's a bummer. I remember when Frank's house came up for sale, Lady Gaga bought it.
Oh,
and I
really?
was like, God, man, that's my lottery hope. I would have bought that place. And God,
my all-time favorite drummer just sold his house, which is only about 2 miles from here. And I was like, I would have loved to have bought that. But
no doubt. It's quite a house, and it's got some mojo to it, some Frank stink. I don't know.
There you go. Right. I know.
Yeah.
Well, my drummer is Vinny Colaiuta, who played with Zappa.
Oh God, Vinny's the man. I mean,
yeah, he actually just sold his house.
I have to say, all drummers are equal, but Vinny is freaking more equal than anybody. God,
Vinny's top of the mark.
His mind, the stuff he comes up with, how understated sometimes. I'm just like, how did he think of that? Just the perfect hi-hat groove, you know?
That's what makes him different right there. You hit on it, is that it's not, I mean, yeah, okay, technically there's nothing he can't play. It's the fact that he thinks to play it where he plays it when he plays it.
Yeah, and he never busies it up. Another guy I like a lot, played with Frank, is Chad Wackerman. Really,
sure, of course. Absolutely.
God, he's another, all the great drummers, Chester Thompson. I listen to some of those old albums, like, and you ain't been to it. No. I got a spot that gets me hot, and you ain't been to it. Got a spot that gets me hot. Oh, no.
What album is that?
That's on, Inca Rhodes is on it. One Size Fits All. I think it's One Size Fits All.
Okay, so that's Bazio, right?
No, that's
Wackerman.
That's Chester Thompson and Ruth Underwood. And
okay.
he had a horn section in that band. They were just so strong.
Sure.
I mean, I'm fortunate. I'm old enough to have seen them a bunch of times, and
I would have loved to have seen those guys for sure.
yeah. Well, go check out Dweezil. They do a great job.
Yeah, Zappa plays Zappa thing. They play at the Baked Potato here from time to time, and I've never made it out, so I need to do that.
I opened up for him like 20 years ago, I guess.
No
It
kidding.
was him and Lisa Loeb. They came, and my band in Tampa. We're a local, well-known band. We were a white boy reggae band that played like we always have a shred guitar player. In fact, my guitar player was this guy Jerry Outlaw. He has the Bogus Pomp, the band that does with the symphony all the Zappa arrangements.
Nice.
Now, you want to see a great band that nobody knows. Well, a lot of people know who Bogus is.
Right.
But man, he's a monster. He used to play in a band called the Jenna Torturers, which I will just tell you, it was a kind of a novelty act. There was this statuesque 6-foot blonde, black latex always, lots of skin, lots of piercings.
Right.
And they had what they called the torture rack.
Of course.
And these yahoos would get out of the audience and get pierced in various places.
No.
So let me tell you this. It was so funny. I got him. I told my lawyer buddy, I said, I'm going to get this son of a bitch to play with us. And he goes, oh, bullshit. He ain't going to play with you. I was like, bullshit. I called him up. I had done something with an artist named Shanna. She did a kids record, and I knew that he played guitar on it. I forget what I did. I mixed it or engineered it. It's been a long time. But so I called her and said, can you call up Jerry and give him tell him I'm an all right guy and beg him to play on my gig? No. And so she did. I called him up. He goes, yeah, I know you guys. It worked out. So I went back to my band, and they're like, what? You got Jerry L? I'm like, hell yeah. And so we just used him as our stunt guitar player. But
nice.
And back then, when him and Dweezil came out, Lisa and Dweezil were doing their gig together. Lisa, I forget what they called it, Loeb and Zappa or something like that.
Right.
And at the time, that was like their first tour ever. And they had only done a few dates, so they were getting up to speed. Well, because my guitar player plays, they would rent the music from the Zappa family for the orchestra to play. So it cost like $10,000 to rent all the scores. Right. So, Gail Zappa is a very, very careful guardian of the Zappa Trust.
Yeah, for sure.
And so what happened was after we played, it was after when they came on, there was a guy in the audience with a Bogus Pomp t-shirt. He had a video camera. And I think we were like sitting backstage or something when Dweezil came up all pissed off with his manager and thought that it was one of our people who had something to do with it. And I just told him, I go, that's just some Yahoo with a Bogus shirt, don't blame us. We're just sitting here hanging out. They were kind of like, we were a very strong act, and we came out, and it was kind of the booking of it, it was kind of a weird booking. They didn't have a drummer. It was acoustic, so you go from this loud and energetic thing, and it was kind of quiet. I could tell that they were just getting rolling. But once I heard her voice, and by the time they got into the third or fourth song, I was just like, wow, this is really nice. And I had never heard Dweezil play, and over the years, just because of that, I've followed him, and he does an amazing job, and I enjoy the show. I'll go see him if he comes around.
Well, here's an irony for you. 2 weeks ago, Wednesday, I was supposed to play with Stephen Glickman and Lisa Loeb, and she ended up getting COVID that day of show. We were playing Hollywood. It was the first show that Glickman's done in LA ever, and I think Lisa hadn't played in a long time. So I got the call to do that gig, and sure enough, the day of the show, it got canceled. Yeah, day of show. I was really bummed.
I could sit here and talk all day with you. It's time to run. So everybody who's been watching, what's your webpage before I roll us out of here?
BuddyGibbons.com.
There you go. You can't go wrong with that, people. Well, thank you very much for being on. I look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks for having me, Neil. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. You're a great guest. See you soon.
Much.
All right, people. How about that? I'm talking, man, what a great guest. Chops, great business savvy. I just got to tell you, that's really cool. And see you.
Hi, this is Leland Sklar, and I am hanging with Neve, and I am having the best time of my life.
Live with Neve Fridays on the East Coast from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.